Hey guys, consider yourself close friends and family because you are in my backyard, on my back porch with me right now. Something that I'm struggling with right now is how to pack for an upcoming trip. My wife and I are going to Portland, Oregon, and we have never been that far out west before, and so we're ecstatic about it. The only issue is, for me, what do I bring with me? So let's get into that. Maybe for a lot of you, you have 4 or 5 different cameras. They all perform differently. They all have a different function. And congratulations on that, because I think every camera you have should be a little different from the other. You shouldn't have a bunch of duplicates unless they're backups. And so right here we have 4 cameras that, one's for decoration, but we have 4 cameras, and I'm gonna talk through why I'm choosing which cameras that I'm bringing on this trip. So the number one thing is we're going on a plane to a city and a state that we've never traveled through before. We want to be mobile. We want to be utilitarian in a sense on how we pack. And so even our own luggage, we don't want to pack way too much stuff because we just don't need a lot of stuff when we travel. And so I want to talk through a little bit of why I'm bringing each different camera that you see here. The first thing is, when you think about the Pacific Northwest, you've seen the landscapes, you've seen the mountains, the ocean, the rocks, the trees, the fog, all these different things that remind you of the Pacific Northwest, but you don't really think about portraits. You don't really think about taking portraits of the locals that live there. And that's something that I really wanted to try to transcend over in this trip is, yes, to take pictures of Cannon Beach, but more importantly, to find people who live around the area in the neighborhood or whatever it may be, and talk with them and get an understanding of who they are and what they think about where they live and why they live there, where they've come from. And so a big thing for me on this trip is I want to have a solid portrait camera. And I would say arguably the best portrait camera I have here is the Mamiya RZ67. Phenomenal camera, amazing lens. It's a 6.7, so it's a huge frame, lots of resolution in that. But the issue is if you've ever held one before, is it's very large. It's just a big camera. And so I'm having a hard time really justifying the real estate on bringing it, just because I don't plan on checking a big bag or anything, mainly because we're not going for a job or for work. We're just going for fun. And so I don't want to bring this camera just because it's too big. And it's really hard for me because it's new and I really desperately want to use it for travel. I don't want it to take up all this space, and which space that I could have stored more film or whatever it may be. And so the medium format camera of choice for me on this trip is a Pentax 645N. And if you've never used this camera before, you're really missing out. This is an excellent camera, and you get 16 shots per roll, which is really appealing to me because I want to get the most bang for my buck per roll. And so with my lab bill, because you're going to pay the same amount of money for a roll of this and a roll of that. And so for me, I can get a very close resolution to the 6.7 with a 6.45, and I'll get a few more shots as well. And so I'm okay with compromising on my resolution size for the sake of traveling with ease and mobility and functionality. This is an amazing camera. I mean, you look through it and you just fall in love because it just feels so good to your eye. This is the manual focus lens, and so it's very just fun and slow, which I really enjoy about this camera. The next camera I want to talk about is the Leica M6. I do plan on bringing this camera, but mainly just for when we go into the cities. We're going to both Portland and Seattle for a long time in the trip, and so I definitely want to have this camera just for more snapshot type things. Things that I'm okay with just capturing. It doesn't have to be an amazing composition or amazing subject, but just for the sake of a memory, and so that's the only reason I'm bringing this camera. For all landscape purposes and hiking or outdoors things, I want to be using the Pentax because I just want the resolution of a medium format camera. The next thing I want to talk about, and honestly probably just as important as what camera you bring, is what film stock you use. And so this is Portra 400. Obviously you're familiar with this, and here's 400H. I have decided to go with this, and so I'm going to bring this on the trip pretty much exclusively. Just the colors are amazing. I want to have a different take because honestly my instinct would be to take this with me because of the greens and you think deep greens and the colors of rocks and dirt and ocean and fog, all these different things. So I really wanted to bring this, but I'm gonna go with the Kodak because Kodak is really supporting film photographers right now, and I want to support them in exchange. The next thing that I want to note is straps. So you see here is just a profuse amount of straps, and so the straps that I want to talk about are actually Peak Design straps. And if you're not familiar with these already, you should be. They basically come with adapters that go on all your camera systems, and so you can just easily snap to different cameras without having to deal with bending the little thing and screwing it off, and so all that mess and the fuss, and so you don't have to mess with that anymore. And they come in all different sizes. They're just great. Everyone should have a tool of some sort, just for whatever it may be. If you're bringing a tripod, which on this trip I'm not bringing a tripod. And by the way, it's freaking hot out here. It's probably 90 degrees. It's Mississippi in June, so welcome to that. The next thing I'll talk about is my Langley Alpha Pro bag. At first, when I bought this bag, I'll admit I bought it because it looked cool. Never did I imagine that it actually would last. This is going on its 4th year, and so maybe 3rd year. But this bag has just lasted the test of time, and nothing has broken on it at all. Something came untwisted, but I just twisted it back. I really like this bag. They've actually fixed the biggest issue with it, which was you put a laptop in there and then you can't open it because of the way it opens right here. So it opens like this, but when a laptop's in there, you can't open it, but they actually changed it to where it's front opening, and so that's a good thing. So this is a good bag because I can fit one large medium format camera such as this one in there comfortably, and then I can fit like a Leica in there as well comfortably. And if I want to bring a digital camera, which I do plan to bring, there's room for that as well. I can put film in the top or on the sides. I think I got a meter in here somewhere, so I keep my meter in there. And so it's just a good versatile bag. I feel like most people, the biggest issue is their bags and how to really travel in a way that's friendly and mobile without drawing too much attention to yourself. So, well, that's pretty much it, guys. I think this was just a good opportunity for maybe, I looked on, YouTube and different blogs to see how other people travel, but I didn't really find anything. And so I ended up reaching out to a lot of my photography friends on Instagram, and they all kind of had similar responses. You pack based on the job. You pack based on what you really need. Don't bring too much. Limit yourself on purpose to see how you can grow and how you can get better at your craft. And so if you're not really used to shooting black and white and you really want to grow in it, bring only black and white film. Limit yourself on purpose. And so on this trip, I'm going to bring 20 rolls of 120 film, and I'm going to stop there, which is a lot actually. But I'm going to limit myself to that much so that I can take my time, not shoot through too much, and really just try to grow as a photographer. And this trip is really just for me and my wife, and so we really want to make the time good for us both. And so I don't want to selfishly commandeer the trip just so I can take pictures. But when the time comes for me to be able to take pictures, I want to be able to be prepared and not waste her time either. And so we should definitely do a video on what it's like to be the spouse of a photographer at some point. Maybe my wife will do that video. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please like this video and share it with your friends.
I wanted things so innocent. Keep it so